Good evening, everybody. We're going to do some FCC exam studying tonight. I have trivia that is pulled straight from the pools of the technician, the general, and the extra exams. So I hope you guys enjoy tonight's stream, and I hope there's a good participation. We'll see how it goes. So we're going to go ahead and fade into the trivia site that you guys need to go to. So the website is hamtesttrivia.com. hamtesttrivia.com. And when you go to hamtesttrivia.com, that is going to be where you guys are going to log in. You're going to go hit play. There's really not a login. You're going to go ahead and play. And up the top right hand corner, when you go to hamtesttrivia.com, there's going to be a play button. So you want to hit play. And when I go to my page here, you guys are going to see a code on the screen. So I said that we were going to start with the technician exam tonight. And the technician exam is the 2022 to 2026 technician exam. So you're going to see on your screen right there a code. That's my call sign, Whiskey 1 Radio Charlie Papa dash, and you got to put it just like that, W1RCP dash 89926, and that will allow you access to the same questions that I'm looking at. So I spent a couple hours last week writing this program at hamtesttrivia.com so that it would pull from the actual pools. So I got the pools from the forget what it's called, NCVEC. It's the ones who come up with the questions for the exams for the FCC licenses. And so from that pool, I took all of those documents and converted them into a database. And that way we can go ahead and play some trivia straight from the trivia. So I see that Eddie has made it home from dinner. Hey, I give a shout out to Eddie, KO4NLL. And I'm going to put this in the chat as well. It is http://hamtesttrivia.com. Up in the top right-hand corner, if I spelled that right, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see the play button. And that's where you will put the code in. Hey, Dan, glad you're checking into the net, buddy. If we turn this into an 80-meter net, I think I sprained my ankle outside the dollar store about 15 minutes ago. I tripped on the curb because I was trying to get in and out. All right, so hamtesttrivia.com is where you're headed, and then there's the play button. You can also probably try hamtesttrivia.com/PLAY should also take you there. So if you guys, I see Eddie's in there. Hey, KY4GM, good evening. It's good to hear you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading some of these questions. This is just the technician exam. And so what's interesting is I went and started looking at some of these questions. You know, I took my technician's exam, 11 or 12 years ago. And I looked at some of these questions and I said, I don't know the answer to these questions. I did this with my high schoolers today just to give it a test run. And I stood in front of them and I missed questions. So it's good to stay up to date with our knowledge of ham radio. You know, we don't want to just become a bunch of button pushers. So you don't have to wait on me to go through this. You can go ahead and start taking the test. It's not like Kahoot where you have to wait to move forward. You can go ahead and go to the questions if you want to. KY4GM David, hey, thanks again for coming to the live stream. Ashley, is that my wife? All right. Well, my wife is playing along too. We played this a couple days ago before I broke the website and had a pretty good time. But we'll start for the first 20 minutes. It'll be about 3 of these. Each of these sections right here, these are the sections and subsections, the elements of the Technician 1 Level 1 exam. And this is question 7. It says, when the control operator is not the station licensee, who is responsible for the proper operation of the station? All licensed amateurs who are present at the operation. Only the station licensee, only the control operator, or the control operator and the station licensee. So the control operator is not the station licensee, but hopefully they're licensed. The proper operation, I'm going to say D, but if you put in the comments, if you know better than I do, if you've been studying, hey, all right, Dan's on the road, but hey, he's here. I probably need to employ Dan on how to make it look less 1998-ish, but I did the best that I could. Hey, Toby, good evening, Alpha Delta 2, Charlie Delta. Don't forget to do your late shift hunt. I know that this coincides with that. And David, it's okay because I don't know some of these answers, but I'm going to say the control operator and the station licensee. It's probably going to be the control operator. We'll see. We'll find out. Okay, so what is a band plan beyond the privileges established by the FCC? See, I'm glad they put that in there because some people don't know this exists. A voluntary guideline for using different modes or activities within an amateur band. A list of operating schedules, a list of available net frequencies, good Lord, that would be a big list, and a plan devised by a club to indicate a frequency band usage. Well, y'all are going to see what my answer is. It's, I guess I'm going to say A on this one. I hope you guys can see what I see. My control screen, I need like three monitors here. Alrighty, so what frequency range is referred to as VHF? Now, VHF is very high frequency. And we know that it is probably not A. And we also know that it is probably not C or D. Let's find out. VHF just goes above HF. HF, it stops at 30 megahertz. If you know 6 meters is in the 50 megahertz range, I'm going to say it's B, 30 megahertz to 300 megahertz. I pretty much remember that because 14652. What function is performed when a transceiver, sorry, I didn't read that right. What function is performed with a transceiver and a digital mode hotspot? Holy cow. What do y'all think that is? A communication using digital voice or data systems via the internet? That's what I think a hotspot is. FT8 digital communications via AFSK, RTTY, or high-speed digital communications for meteor scatter. Listen, a hotspot, and Dan, you probably know best, a hotspot is usually connected to the internet, is it not? Boop. So I'm selecting A on that one. Eddie, what'd you get? KO4NLL, W1RCP. What'd you get, bud? Alrighty, so the next one, hey guys, this is an easy one. This is Technician. It is Element 5, Question 13. It's also Section C is, what is the abbreviation for kilohertz? Oh my gosh. They're all the same answer, aren't they? To the untrained eye. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe the H is always capitalized. What do y'all think? See, there's a 30-second delay, so I ask you, what do you think? And then let me ask my wife, hey, what do you think? No, I'm all the way on number 5, y'all. Okay, my son says D, lowercase k, capital H, lowercase z. All right, so we got that one. Now, these, listen, I went to school for electronics. Question number 6. These were my favorite. I never really struggled with this. So it says, what type of switch is represented by component 3 in figure T-2? So this is figure T-2. Component number 3 is this guy right here. I teach this to my kids in my high school engineering class, and this is what I get excited about. I actually had one kid today said, hey, you know, I'm tired of putting LEDs with resistors in the battery and using these jumper wires. Give me something to build. And so I went and I found him a keypad, and I said, here, figure this out. He said, wait, how do you get 16 buttons with only 8 wires? I said, you'll figure it out. He did figure it out. All right, so back to the question. Switches have a pole, and then they have a throw. And this looks like a single pole, because there's only one way for current to flow. Single throw, because there's only one contact. So there we go. Single pole, single throw. A single pole double throw would most likely have those 2 little circles connected with another 2 set of circles, and it's going to have, they'll just be connected, and it'll have 2 different directions that it can click in. Okay, a double pole single throw is if you were going to fire up both the negative and the positive at the same time. Double pole, double throw, let's not even get into that. Okay, last one. Which instrument is used to measure electric current? I was really proud of some of the kids in the back of the room today. They knew the answer to this. And the answer is, you can answer what you want to answer, but I think that's an ammeter. So I'm going to go ahead. Yes. Oh my gosh. With the help of my kid, I made 100. And Toby, you helped me out too. Thank you so much. Uh-oh. My kid missed one. Guess what? As the facilitator, I can click this Get the Stats. And we can go look at this and see that Ashley made a 72. Hey, David, you didn't do too bad yourself there. 72 is not bad. If you average this junk out over the course of 35 questions, I think you... Oh, okay. So Josiah is playing as Ashley tonight. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to refresh this and see if anybody else has submitted answers. Oh, Eddie. Good job, Eddie. You made 100. Now, here's what's cool. As a facilitator, we could go back and look at some of the most missed questions. And so we're going to click right here. Oh, you know what? This won't work in my web browser that I'm using for this. But I could click right here, and you can go study with your group if you wanted to look at those. But hey, let's start us a new game. We're going to do a technician for one more round. And so the code is going to be my call sign dash 63056. So if I highlight that, it's not going to let me copy it, is it? Oh man, this is just my first time using this particular program. He said I'd be testing again. You got this, bro. Okay, we're going to see if paste works. Nope. It sure didn't work. I was so going to help y'all out with copy and paste there. 63056. I got to remember that. 63056. My wife told me to put it down here in the comments. So it's W1RCP dash. Here you go. Boom. All right, there's the code that you want to enter for this particular exam. I'm afraid to click the next button on this thing because it may take me away from this exam, but I think I can get back to it. We'll find out in a minute. Okay, so just for a second, we're going to see what happens. All right, hey guys, I haven't even been on video at all. I just realized it. But wear my nice Heil Pro 7 headset so I can have better audio than what my laptop provides. Maybe one day I'll actually be a real YouTuber. So hamtesttrivia.com/play.php. And then you enter this code in. So we got David in here. David, you can go ahead and go with and start finding some of these answers for me. And one thing that I did not realize earlier today, because it's been so long since I've taken a technician's exam, is the restrictions on power for the technician's class. Even on 10 meters, they have access to 10 meters for SSB from 28,300 to 28,500. I did not realize that they were limited to a certain amount of power. And I don't think that question's on this test, but it was 200 watts peak envelope power. Very interesting. I'm not going to speak on peak envelope power because I don't remember either, but I think that's what, even considering the gains and losses in your coax and your antenna, I think that's your peak envelope power. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I am not an expert. Not an expert at all. We're about to have a bunch of dogs fighting in the living room. Let's get ready. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading. I'll leave that at the top of the screen while I can read the next question. And we will transition my face out of here so you can see the rest of the screen. Technician. This is element 1, part B, question 12. Except for some specific restrictions, what is the maximum peak envelope power output for the technician class operators using frequencies above 30 megahertz? So that's peak envelope power. Maybe that's what's coming out of your radio. Somebody look that up for me, because gosh, I don't remember. I just, sadly, I'm a button pusher when it comes to power coming out of my radio. But I am pretty sure after going over this with my 10th and 11th and a couple 12th graders today, I think we discovered it's 1,500 watts, which is a lot. Holy cow, that's a lot. Okay, what type of signaling uses pairs of audio tones? Pairs of audio tones. I know the answer to this one too, I think. So CTCSS, I think it's what repeaters use. I think that's just one tone. GPRS, no, probably not. D-Star, that's a communications mode. DTMF, I'm going to guess that's multiple frequency, but I think it's DTMF. Anybody disagree? If you didn't see all the power as a choice, you talk about Dan, all the power, it runs all the watts. Hey, we just heard this one. What frequency range is referred to as very high frequency? That's anything above 30 megahertz and below 300 megahertz. Then you get to UHF after that. All right, so you could probably still see my highlighted sticky underneath all this. I didn't hide it if anybody else wants to join in. So we got, hey, N3RTW, good evening. Thanks for joining in on the stream. We appreciate you joining us for some trivia. And Sean, appreciate you sending, I think you're the Sean that emailed me the other day about the Wi-Fi thing that's controlling your rotator. That was pretty cool. He sent me an email, showed me some stuff that he's got going on in the basement. Wi-Fi remote rotator, really cool project. Alrighty, so what signals are used in a computer radio interface for digital mode operation? So signals are used, let's find out. Receive and transmit mode, status and location. Is that computer radio interface? I don't think so. Antenna and RF power. That's between the radio antenna, right? Receive audio, transmit audio, transmitter keying. Now, does that sound like computer to radio? See, this is how you take a test. You got to look at what is contained in that question. Some people who aren't good test takers, they get that test taking anxiety. You just slow down, take a deep breath. I am going to say This is C. NMEA, GPS location and DC power, that's not computer interface. So, receive audio, that's what's coming from your radio to the computer. Transmit audio goes from your computer to the radio. And then there's some sort of transmitter keying, whether it be Vox, it might be your signal link, it could be any one of those things. It could be a transistor that you're using from audio sensing. You know, I've built some crazy stuff back in the day when I didn't have money to buy, nice stuff. And that's how I learned. It was fun. Alrighty, we're on question number 5. If you're wondering why there's only 7 questions instead of 10 for this particular quiz, this test, this trivia, is because the technician level exam only has 7 elements. The general and the extra have 10 altogether. And I only pull one random one from each of those sections. All right, so what describes the ability to store energy in an electric field? So you got to think an electric field. So is it inductance? Is it resistance? Is it tolerance? Or is it capacitance? Some of y'all out there, what y'all think that is? Hey, Sean passed. All right, he can keep his license. This is just the technician license. The general gets a little more in depth, but we know electric field capacitance uses the plates that are stuck together with insulation in between, which separates the electrons and the protons, or it really doesn't separate the protons at all, but it pushes the electrons all to one side. And that's what gives it the polarity, but that's capacitance. Inductance is when it's in a magnetic field. Which of the following, this is question number 6 that I'm on right now, which of the following components can consist of 3 regions of semiconductor material? If you're an automotive tech, you know that's not an alternator. There's probably not much semiconductor in there. Is it a transistor? Well, we know transistors are a semiconductor of sorts. A triode. Now, if you know about old tubes, triodes are not actually semiconductors at all. They're metal inside of a vacuum. And then a pentagrid converter. Can't comment on that. Never heard of it before. But I'm going to go transistor because I know that it's 3 regions smushed together. You have PNP and NPN. My favorite's NPN. PNP's always freaked me out. All right, last one. Which of the following is used to convert a signal from one frequency to another? Oh, no. I'm going to have to narrow this one down. I thought it was called... I'm looking for the word verter. I thought they were called transverters. David said he'd be down $30. I don't think you have to pay if you don't pass. I think it's a pay if you pass, because we've had people fail during our exam sessions and they just walked out. So I don't think they had to pay anything. Which of the following is used to convert a signal from one frequency to another? I'm pretty sure that's going to be an inverter. I know it's not an amplifier, and I know it's not a mixer. But phase is just going to change the phase. I'm pretty sure that's inverter. So let's see if I can still be a technician. Y'all ready? Uh-oh. W1RCP missed one. I missed one, y'all. Dag nabbit. Bet it was that last. Holy cow, it's a mixer. Well, I'm going to have to study. Apparently, I don't know what that is. Alrighty, guys, so I did a lot of talking there. Let's get the stats and see. That was the 63056. Yes. Sean gets to keep his technician level license tonight. David, you didn't do too shabby. I think you missed the same ones I missed. One of them. And then KO4 NLL. Hey, man, you did good too, Eddie. Alrighty, y'all. Now let's get into the real stuff, the really hard stuff. I'm going to start a new game. Y'all ready? It'll take you 36. Inverting a signal keeps the same. Oh, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. I love to learn new stuff or even be reminded. So I'm trying to think of like a mixer. Yeah. If you think about mixing, so I have a video coming out in May. I just built up. Let me pause for just a minute. Let's start the new game. Guys, I'm going to go use the general next. I said I was going to do 20 minutes. I kind of went over just a little bit. I'm going to scroll up 98710. So you're going to type in W1RCP dash 98710. I think you said you cannot see the bottom of my screen. If that is the case, that is a limitation of my my streaming software. Yep, I figured that's what you meant is can't see. I will have to do some research. This is my first go around with this one, so I'll see what I can do about getting it all up there. What I may have to do is actually go into the programming of this and put some space at the bottom so I can keep scrolling down. So I definitely apologize for that. Alrighty, so W1RCP 98710. I'm sending that into the chat. We do have some people that are. It's okay. Hey, typing is hard. Typing is hard. I think I only use 3 fingers when I type. So for those that are just joining us, if you don't know where you're supposed to be, this is http ham test trivia. Let me make sure I typed it right too. .com/play.php. That should work. I programmed it to work like that. We'll see. Now I know I hit enter. I'm going to type it. Oh, there we go. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that story that I was about to tell y'all. Guess what? ADHD, I forgot what it was. Let me ask my producer. Do you remember what I was talking about just a second ago? Oh, she wasn't listening either. I get that a lot. Nah, it was after that. I done forgot. I was going to tell a story. That's all right. We all have like 5 different jobs that we do. So this is the general exam. The general exam has some stuff in it. I have a video coming out tomorrow for the 5 of you that are in here already tonight. Oh, there's 6 of you now. For the 6 of you here tonight, I'll tell you it's clickbait. But it's not clickbait. It's just, I said one thing, but it's another thing. Hey, tune in tomorrow about the FCC requiring Morse code somewhere. I'll tell you that much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read through these guys. On what bands may automatically controlled stations transmitting RTTY or data emissions communicate with each other automatically with other automatically controlled digital stations? Guess what, Sean? Or David, you can't type and I can't read. Oh, yes. I just got a text from the viewer, one of the viewer's wives, an XYL. I don't even like calling them that. Katie must be tuned in and listening too. That's Eddie's wife, KO4NLL. But I was talking about the video coming out in May. I have a build of the Pixie 2 CW transceiver. If I had remembered that the way that it works is it has a 7 megahertz oscillator, and when the 7 megahertz plus the 600 hertz offset comes through, it mixes it, subtracts the 7 megahertz, and gives you the audio through the audio amplifier. It mixes to change the frequency. I should have known it. Well, Sean, I'm totally giving you all the credit for me remembering that. Alrighty, so all what bands can control automatically controlled stations transmitting RTTY or data emissions communicate with other automatically controlled digital stations? Man, I don't even know what that's saying. On any band segment where digital operation is permitted, anywhere in the non-phone segments of the 10-meter or shorter wavelength bands, only in the non-phone extra class segments, or anywhere in the 6-meter or shorter wavelength and in limited segments of some HF bands. Y'all, I think it's on any segment where digital operation is permitted. The automatically controlled stations thingy really messes with my head, always has. So y'all throw up your answers out there. I'm going to move on. Which of the following are examples of the NATO phonetic alphabet? Somebody must have been a little. They must not like the stuff that we come up with here these days, like Robbie Camp POTA. Of course, we only do it for certain people. Try to stick to the phonetic alphabet when possible. It was created for a reason. But Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Man, that is almost Toby's call sign. Okay, but Abel Baker, Charlie Dog. Well, the thing is, some things can sound like other things, and we do hear America and Baker, and we hear Canada, and we Denmark, I think, is one. Kilo Oscar 4 November, London, London. Yeah, absolutely, David. I'm in the same boat. Well, I'd hate to admit it on stream, but I memorized all 700 answers. That's how I got it. But a lot of the stuff, that's why I said this is good for all amateur radio people to do some trivia that comes straight from the tests. If we don't stay current, we do just become button pushers for the most part. We know just enough of the rules to stay out of trouble, right? And even then, if you break it, who's going to catch you? So, what effect does a sudden ionospheric disturbance have on the daytime ionospheric propagation? It's aggravating for those of us that go out and play radio all day out in parks. We get this sometimes. So, a disturbance, does it enhance propagation? Or does it disrupt signals on lower frequencies more than those on higher frequencies? It disrupts communications via satellite more than direct. None, because only areas on the night side of Earth are affected. Listen, if you're a good test taker, pretty sure that the answer is B on this one. Hey, so I'm sticking with B. Oh, I should check the comments a little bit more often. Oh my gosh. Yes, isn't that how we all got it, by memorizing the answers? Yeah, if the extra test was right in answer only, I think some of us would be in a lot of trouble. Just being honest. What is the effect of an incorrectly adjusted speech processor? And those of you that do POTA, you've probably heard 1, 2, or 10 of these. Parks on the air. Man, we're on the radio a bunch when we're out playing or hunting, but distorted speech, excess intermod products, excessive background noise, or all of these choices are correct. Now, I know that if your speech processor's messed up, it's going to be distorted speech. I also think that I'm going to go with all these choices are correct, because I think excessive background noise, if you got a TV in the other room, it might come through. He said he would be 11-meter operator. Is 11 meters and CB the same thing? I still haven't quite figured that out. Somebody answer that question for me. I think they are the same. CB is just below 10 meters, so it probably is pretty close. What happens when an inductive and a capacitive reactance are equal in a series LC circuit? So the L is the inductor, C is the capacitor, and these are in series. Oh my gosh, I wish I remembered this from college. So resonance causes impedance to be very high when the inductive and capacitive reactance are equal. Impedance is equal to the geometric mean of the, I think that's a distractor. Resonance causes impedance to be very low. Impedance is equal to the, okay, listen, I think this is going to be either A or C, and I need some help. I need some help. Y'all, I do not remember. If I were to guess, y'all, I would say resonance causes the impedance to be very high. I'm going to guess very high because it's resonating. Audio. All right. I'm going to have to skip that one. I'm guessing A. Going to move on because it's 8:36, and gosh, we haven't even got through half of these 10 questions yet. How does a ferrite bead or core reduce common mode RF current on a shield of a coaxial cable? By creating an impedance in the current's path. It converts common mode current to differential mode current. By creating an out-of-phase current to cancel the common mode current, ferrites expel magnetic fields. You know what? This test is making me feel real stupid. This might be my last live stream of this because I have no idea. I use them all the time. So the ferrite bead, I believe, I know they get hot. That's for sure. What do y'all think? I am so lost on this question. So I'm trying to think. When current flows on the shield of coax cable, that's usually a bad thing. So when you put those ferrite beads on the outside of the cable, you're trying to limit how much comes back into your radio and expels it as heat. So how does it do it? I know that it creates an impedance. So I'm going to go with A. I've talked myself through this. Okay, what of these classes of amplifiers has the highest efficiency? Well, listen, Class A amplifiers are always on. They are not efficient. Class AB is sort of a mix between always on and just a little bit almost on. Class B is a push-pull, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is Class C actually is one of the higher efficiency classes because it turns off for just a second while still preserving linear properties. I'm trying to say linearity, and I don't even know how to say it. Yes, amen to that. I just renewed my license for that very reason. If I had to take this test again, we're not getting any younger. What type of modulation is used by FT8? FT8 is interesting because it uses 8 different tones. If you listen to a whole bunch of them, it almost sounds like static if you get on a busy band. It is not vestigial. It's not amplitude compressed amplitude modulation. I think that'd be turning the volume down on it, wouldn't it? It is 8 tones and they shift. So it's a frequency FSK, frequency shift keying. That's what it is. All right, guys, we're almost through. I'm going to make a 50. I'm going to make a 50 on this. What is the approximate length of a half-wave dipole for 20 meters? So 14.250. I'm hitting 33 feet just because I know that if it was 7 megahertz, it'd be about 63 feet or 61 and a half, something like that. So I'm going 33 feet. There is a formula for that. Honestly, I don't remember it because you know what? I looked that stuff up. Hey, well, happy birthday, David. I'm 41. My birthday's still 6 months away. 6 months? Yeah, 6 months away. 5 months and 2 weeks. All right, last question, y'all. It's 8:40. I think we better stick to general tonight, guys, because I'm feeling bad. But this is why I'm doing this. I wanted to learn some more stuff and have fun while we're doing it. What must you do if your station fails to meet the FCC RF exposure exemption criteria? Now, if you didn't know, a few years ago they passed a resolution or law that said that every amateur, no matter where you are, you have to do an RF exposure. Somebody help me, I forget the word for it now. Dadgummit. But anyways, you got to go see if it meets. Now, those of us that run QRP, you could be within like a centimeter of the antenna on almost any frequency. But if you're running power, it's a little bit different. So if your station fails to meet the RF exposure exemption criteria, so you're exempt from the having to do this, you're going to have to do the RF exposure evaluation. I think that is the FCC Bulletin 65. So FCC approved bandpass filter is not going to help you with the RF exposure. I don't know what the World Meteorological Organization guidelines are, but they sure don't have anything to do with us playing radio. And we don't have to contact the FCC. Guys, I'm hitting go on this. I missed two. And hey Dan, you still with us? I don't know who's here, except for the ones that are 100 watts, 6 feet. Yeah, if you get on 10 meters now, if you get on 10 meters, it actually spreads out a pretty good ways for that RF exposure. I know if you stay about 100 watts, if you have a 6-foot radius around your antenna, then you're good for, I think it's for the uncontrolled area. There's a controlled and there's uncontrolled. If you can control it, I think the controlled area is a little bit smaller because you're limiting what the access is. So I got 8 answers correct, y'all. I missed number 1. Anywhere in the 6 meter or shorter wavelength bands and limited segments of some HF bands. So I told you I don't know what automatically controlled means. So there's that. So I I passed the test. Thank God. If this was a full test and I made an 80, at least I got my general license. And what was the other one that I missed? Okay, it was the other one. I had 2 choices, y'all. 2 choices, and I chose the wrong one. Inductive and capacitive reactance in a series LC circuit, when they're equal, the impedance is very low. So I guess that means that it passes through. Okay, y'all, it's 8:44. It is 8:44. Let's get the stats. Let's see how everybody did. So we got David. Oh, David. You weren't kidding. Sean, you did pretty daggum good there. You missed 2. Eddie missed 2. I missed 2. It do be like that sometimes. Guys, let's play one more game and let's call it a night. Let's stick with the general. And let's start trivia. I'm going to scroll up. W1 RCP 91086. W1 RCP. Oh, yes. Sean, thank you for saying that. It's $14 or $15 if you go to the K5YI or the ARRL. It is hey, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Listen, I teach high school kids, and before that, I taught eighth graders. And I've learned that you get better response if you don't judge. You say, hey, you know what? Mistakes are meant to be made as long as you learn from them. Okay, there is the code. If you want to copy and paste it out of the chat, if that is, that's another thing. I'm starting to show my age. I don't even know how to tag people in the chat. I ain't figured that one out. Of course, I always watch on my phone. That's probably part of the problem. Okay, we got David in there. David, we'll give you a head start, bud. And this refreshes every 30 seconds. I learned some JavaScript about a week ago. It's pretty cool. But in the process of making that, I broke my whole website. I tested this out on Tuesday with my kids, and they said, hey, we don't have those questions. And I went, hey, we're going to go back to doing our regularly scheduled program. Go get your robot stuff. And so then I rewrote the whole code. And then I realized after the fact, when I put the players in session in, I accidentally deleted an important part of the code in this. I deleted the seed. I had a seed for the random number generator. Oops. It's okay. Now I don't even have to remember the seed, other than the fact that that is what gives the database, gives you access to the same database I'm in. So hey, there's a little programmer talk for you. If you want to talk programming, I could talk for a good 15 minutes before somebody else is smarter than me. Hey, my school daughter's in here. What's up, Morgan? Morgan? I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but hi, Morgan. All right, so we got David, we got Eddie in here already. Y'all can go ahead and start taking it. You don't have to wait on me to read it. I know most of y'all can read. Yeah, on the computer, I think you can do it on the computer, but you can't tag it on their phone. Well, hey, what's up? Thanks for supporting the YouTube tonight. You know, if you want to be an engineer, we gotta get these younger kids to take over, because those old folks, man, we're just getting older. We need the younger kids to be imaginative and fate, be imaginative and find new stuff to do out there. Alrighty, so we got two folks in there. If that's okay, we'll just carry on. When is it permissible to communicate with amateur stations in countries outside of the areas administered by the FCC? Is it only when a foreign country has a formal third-party agreement? Is it with any country except those whose administrations have notified the ITU that they object to such communications? Only when the contact was the amateurs licensed by a country. It says United Nations, and we know that's not true. Now, what is this guy calling? Y'all, Whiskey Zero, Charlie Golf Charlie's trying to call me on the phone. I hope he ain't trying to get on this live stream. Or only when the contact is with a country member of the IARU or by a territory possessed by such a country. I'm going to say it's the International Amateur Radio Union. Man, it could be that, or it could be the ITU. Somebody help me out here. What do y'all know? There are countries that we cannot communicate with, and there's times when we can't communicate. There was a point in time when Ukraine wasn't allowed to transmit, and we supposedly weren't allowed to make contact with them. That was that's been going on for quite some time now. Okay, I'm stuck between B and D on that one. B and D. When the contact is with amateurs in any country except those who have notified the ITU that they object. I'm just going to have to say, I'm sticking with D. I'm sticking with my guns on this one. If y'all have a different answer, y'all let me know in the chat. All right, which mode is commonly used for voice communications on frequency of 14 megahertz or higher? So this one, I do know the answer to this one because I use it a lot. Upper frequencies, 14 megahertz and higher is upper sideband. If you're below 14 megahertz, it's lower sideband. 10 megahertz being the exception that it is digital, which digital is almost always upper sideband. There's no voice on 10 meters. It's only digital or CW, Morse code. Alrighty. Hey, we're only on question 3. This is how I take tests usually. What is the type of propagation? See, I can't read. My eyes are going blurry. What type of propagation allows signals to be heard in the transmitting station's skip zone? Going short path on that one. I don't think it's Faraday rotation. I don't think it's scatter. I don't know what a chordal hop is. I'm going short path on that one. I tell you what, I know he's not here tonight, but Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar, he does this to me all the dang time on 20 meters. So David works in banking. All right. I need a loan, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. What is the purpose of the notch filter found on many HF transceivers? Now, if you've done POTA on 17 meters, you know how to use a notch filter. It is not to restrict the voice bandwidth, though it does restrict a certain bandwidth. It is probably going to be B, to reduce interference from carriers, a single frequency, a tuner upper, in the receiver passband. So if you're on a SSB, single sideband, you know you can be 3 kilohertz wide. If you got somebody with a little 50 hertz carrier in there beeping at you, you want to get that thing out of there. It is not impulse noise sources. That would be the noise blanker. And to remove interfering splatter generated by signals on adjacent frequencies. It's not going to do that. The splatter, you might have to live with that. It's B. I know that one's B. If it's wrong, I'm in a mess. All right, what is the RMS, the root mean square voltage of a sine wave with a value of 17 volts peak? I'm going 12 on this one, y'all. I don't have a calculator in front of me. Hey, and I don't even have a piece. I have one piece of paper, but nothing to write with. But root mean square is the square root of 2. Is it not? Sean should know this one. And that would be 0.707. So 0.7 times, I'm sticking with 12 volts. I'm sticking to my guns because this would be half. I'm sticking with that. That's about 3/4 of 17 volts. Man, I want to fire up the calculator so bad on my computer. I'm checking my answer on this, y'all. 0.707 times 17. Comes out to 12.019, rounded down, 12 volts. Let's stick with it, y'all. We're nearing the end. We got to finish this before 9 p.m. so we can go to bed. What is the typical upper frequency limit for low SWR, standing wave ratio, operation of 50 ohm BNC connectors? Now, BNC, if I'm not mistaken, is made for VHF. So I'm going 500 megahertz on that one for low SWR, 500 megahertz. Probably going to be wrong, but I'm saying 500 megahertz. Yep, Morgan, you can definitely learn. It takes a while to learn this stuff, especially if you're not familiar with it. Some of this on this test is a little more. There's a lot of knowledge you have to know for the general. The extra exam is out there. And there's like so many more questions on that one too. What is the output waveform of an unfiltered full wave rectifier connected to a resistive load? So the waveform is going to be a bump, a positive bump, and then another positive bump. That's what it looks like. If you can see me doing the positive bump and the positive bump like this, it's going to look like little hills like this because it's not filtered. And we're going to say it actually is double the frequency too. A series of DC pulses at twice the frequency of the AC input. Because AC makes a complete path, one full cycle is one positive and one negative. But as you rectify it, it flips this one up. So now you have two bumps in that same time frame. So I'm going A on that one. All right, we're almost done, guys. Which of the following narrow band digital modes can receive signals with very low signal to noise ratios? So I do remember from college that if it has a high rate of speed, you have to have a lower noise floor for anything that exceeds or goes above and beyond. The faster the rate, you have to have less noise or you start to get error rates. So the MSK 144 is really, really fast. And I also believe MFSK 32 is still booking it. It's going to be B or C. Now, I know FT8 can receive some things that are just barely audible. So I'm going FT8. I actually don't remember what Amtor is because I don't use it. Alrighty, what is the advantage of vertically stacking horizontally, so horizontally polarized Yagi antennas? The advantage. No, I don't believe it's A. I don't believe it's B. Does it narrow the main lobe in azimuth or in elevation? I know that gain increases, and if gain increases, the lobe shrinks. So I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I feel so stupid for this, but I'm going to say elevation. It's probably azimuth. It narrows the beam. I'm looking at that chart. Man, I'm looking at that chart, and it goes like this, so I think that's azimuth, not elevation. Elevation can be how high your antenna is off the ground. There's other factors for that. Alrighty, so which of the following is true of an emergency generator installation? The generator should be operated in a well-ventilated area. Yeah, don't run your generator in your living room. The generator must be insulated from ground. No, I'm pretty daggum sure that it should be connected to ground. Fuel should be stored near the generator for rapid refueling in case of an emergency. Y'all, we know that ain't right. You don't want gas near something making a bunch of heat, right? So we know that D's wrong. Definitely, it should be in a well-ventilated area. I mean, unless you just, want to live a short life. Submit questions. Oh, golly molly. I failed, y'all. You can laugh now. Yep, there has new older ham. Sorry, I'm about 5 minutes behind on the chat. So y'all, we made it to 9 p.m. I only got 6 of these right. I don't deserve it. I am not worthy. The ITU that they object to such communication. So if you see this question again, your root word is ITU. It's the only question that mentions The International Telecommunications Union, if that's what that means. So, man, IARU, you got me. Okay, guess what? Question 3. I need to go study section. I need to go study section B, 1B, 3C. What type of propagation allows signals to be heard in the skip zone? It's not short path. It is scatter. So I guess it scatters everywhere. So those are 2 of the 4 that I missed. Oh my gosh, I don't know a dang thing about a BNC connector. Holy cow, it's 4 gigahertz. How about them apples? Alrighty, and I missed the last one. Second to last one. I should have stuck with elevation. Oh well. So, we learned some new things. Vertically stacking. There was a picture on the web the other day of a guy that had a whole bunch of stacked Yagis for Earth EME, Earth, Moon, Earth. And they said that he had so much gain that at 1500 watts, it was 1,000,000 watts of effective radiated power. 1,000,000 watts from 1500. That's how much gain he had. I think they said it was somewhere in the range of 30 decibels, I believe. I am not going to show the results of this one just so I don't embarrass anybody else. We'll let this one just be. I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Back to that guy's antenna. I think he only had a 1.5 degree lobe off of his antenna. So by the time that it made it to the moon, it was only like a foot wide. Not intended to be an actual true statement. So I had fun tonight. It was fun with all the banter in the chat room. Morgan, thanks for tuning in. And again, legality-wise, being a school teacher, I don't know what I can say, but hey, it is what it is. You know, I can't control what y'all do after school. At any rate, thank you, Toby. Thank you, David. Let's see, Eddie. KO4NLL, I know you were in here. Sean, I appreciate you coming in and supporting this tonight. Dan, I don't know where you went. I know you said you were driving. I drive a Jeep, so it's hard to hear in the Jeep. Absolutely difficult to hear in the Jeep. But guys, appreciate you coming in tonight. This is something that I'm going to try to do probably not every Thursday. I know I'm competing with other YouTubers, but I have not figured that out. I'm not trying to be some big YouTuber. I just want to be instrumental in people learning stuff. I do a what call sign did you get, which is Morse code. We're playing Morse code bingo once a month. That one's coming up pretty soon. And, you know, staying current with the knowledge that we're supposed to have. Let's be more than just a button pusher. Let's be Elmers. I'm a digital Elmer. If we can attract the young ones like Morgan to the stream, even to get interested, my wife and my kids, they have played this too, and they have actually had fun learning some of the stuff from the technician exam, which is the first one. And if you're looking to upgrade, I know Eddie, we need Eddie to upgrade to extra, so I may play this with him on Friday steak night one night. So y'all, I appreciate you. I'm going to say it again. I appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you know somebody that needs to study or wants to study or that's interested in amateur radio, send them my way when I do these FCC exam studies. And let's do this. Now, the last thing is this is a product that I've created. It's $10 a year. If somebody wants to do this in their club, you can have access to what I have access to. It's a lot better if you're not in a streaming platform, and that's at w1rcp.com. That's my call sign.com, and I will take care of you. So, hey, yeah, Eddie, you could do it. Y'all, I'm going to go ahead and hit that end broadcast. I will see some of you all in the Ham Radio Adventure Guys Discord. That's where most of these folks hang out, so we'll see you there, and we will see you guys next week for another round of Trivia Live FCC Exam Study, where we'll have fun and learn too. Good night, y'all.